Welcome back to Cherry Picking. Today, we're going to be seeing if this 1966 Ford Country Sedan can run and possibly drive. Who knows? We'll see. Well, thanks Aaron for that wonderful intro. Today, that's right, we're getting this 66 station wagon up and running, hopefully for the first time in, I believe, 20 years. Now, the registration on this thing when I got it said about 2003, 2004, but the previous owner believes that it had been sitting longer than that and they were just paying registration until they finally decided not to. Now, before I get started on trying to get this thing running and showing you around it a bit, I gotta get it cleaned out because I filled it with a bunch of stuff. So let's clean it out real quick. As you may be able to tell, there's some stuff in here. And the first thing that I gotta get out, oh boy, I have this foam here that is actually from a Sleep Number bed. And the reason it's in here is because, well, the front seat needs new foam, and you'll see that in a few minutes. And this stuff was free to me, so I thought, you know, well, we'll see if it works. If it doesn't, no, throw it away. Now, if you are a keen-eyed viewer, you'll notice that this thing is not where it was at the end of last video. It was actually that away. I don't know, probably about 75 feet or so. And I actually pulled it out here with old trusty, the 67 F250 that we restored the interior on. If you haven't checked that out, go check out that playlist where we turn that 67 into a King Ranch. But we did get her dragged out and pulled out of here, and I pushed it back as far as I could. But there's one more thing I got to get out of here. I'm actually going to have to open the tailgate for it, which won't be easy because I took out the glass. There it is. Yeah. Doesn't weigh a lot right now with no glass and no paneling, but I gotta get this bike out. This wagon actually has a pretty cool story of how I got it, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you it while on my Porta Silk cycle. That's what it's called, not how it rides, because it is a rough rider. Got too many things. But, oh boy, forgot how this thing rides. This thing is a really weird riding bike. So I got this station wagon from a fella right here in town. And he was actually one of the original owners. He himself wasn't the original owner because his parents were. His parents bought this beauty, this 20-foot long hunk of steel, back in 1966. And his family drove it for years and years and years, and then he inherited it, and he drove it for a while, and then I guess it just sat. So about 15, 20 miles from here, this car has sat for at least 20 years, if not closer to 30 from what I could tell. And as you can see, it's in pretty good shape, minus the windshield. Don't look at that. That's not too nice. But I've been looking for a wagon for a while. I've wanted one for years, you know, ever since they became popular. And well, that's the worst time to want something, because then you got to pay for it. Let's show you around the car. So if we take our gander over here, you can see Ford. I tend to gravitate towards these ones apparently. And no license plate up front. Don't worry, it was there, and it does have the original black and yellow plates, which is why all of the registration and everything has been taking so long, because I'm trying to keep the original black and yellow plates. Had to take them off to get them photocopied, but it is a Ford. As I said, upright headlights, some badge, it did get nicked there, and when you saw in the picture, it was up against the fence on the passenger side, so all we could see is the driver's side. And I saw that nick and went, huh, kind of an interesting spot. And I see the 3 holes and went, that normally means something. But as you can see, we've got a well-ventilated windshield. You know, that's really just for the passenger to ash their cigarette out of while you're going down the road. Oh yeah. So that'll need to be replaced. I've been working on it, still trying to get one. It's got a mirror, which is actually pretty special because it's a remote controlled mirror. Kind of cool. Pretty high dollar option. Not really, but they're hard to find. 4 doors. Well, 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. That's okay. It is a station wagon. If we come over here, I'll take a... That looks terrible. Yeah, there's a rag stuffed in there. Just close that back up. It does have the roof rack. Deluxe. Sure is. Country sedan. It is not a country Squire, so it does not have the wood paneling. That's the difference between the sedan and the Squire, which is good and bad. And I say that because, well, it's bad because I kind of like the wood paneling. I think it's cool. Although I'm really growing to like the steel side. It's good because the wood paneling always goes bad. And I live here in the desert, and as you'll see in the interior, vinyl and plastics don't last very well. So the wood paneling would look rough. Looked like someone at one point put a whip on here for a CB radio. Don't know why, but they did. And if we come to the tailgate, you'll notice no handle. Big badge, no handle with a lock. This has a power window that of course doesn't work, so I had to take it out in order to get in the car from this. And you can already start to see the interior there, but don't look. We're gonna keep working our way around. It does have just a little, just put that there. I actually do have a replacement for that. And we got the steps. Those are a cool option. Definitely hard to find. Can't get them nowadays, but they let you step up and up onto the car. And look at that. We've got all the view in the world from here. That taillight's okay. And we make our way around this side. There's tree sap all over everything because it sat where that was for a while. There's the other 2 doors. Found them. And as you can see, what I did see on the other side was that badge. And I do have it, but I'm going to have to replace it because it's in the glove box and broken off because they somehow hit it exactly where that badge was. But yes, this does have a 390. Let's get the hood open. Just kind of get it, lift up on that. And look at that, 390. We'll pause on that and take a look around here. Just, I don't know how hard it is to see. Oh, there it is. There it is. As you can see, dual reservoir power brakes. This did have power brakes originally, but it was not dual reservoir in '66. So someone added that later, which that's actually pretty cool. Power steering. And if you notice, there's a bracket here. It did have AC. It was an AC car. And you also, if you're a Ford guy, you'll know, because this is an AC power steering pump, because it has a flattened and tilted neck. Some stickers. It says auto light down here, and I don't know what this one says, but they are there. Overflow tank that was probably added, not original, I'm assuming. And a red. Cool. That's pretty much it. It is a 390, but it is not the original 390, which is okay. When I got this car out, I was trying to do some research and I noticed it's got a 2-barrel on it. And this is in fact a 390 car, but it is not a 2-barrel 390, or sorry, a 2V 390 car. It actually is a Z code 4V 390 car. So I thought, huh, that's weird. Someone switched out the intake. And then I went to doing some numbers and looking at the date of the block on the underside, and found out it's actually a 68 block because it's a 68 intake. So had a bit of a motor swap, which is all right. It's got one in it, so I can't complain. It's not exactly the healthiest though. The reason I had to replace the starter is because I wanted to get this thing running so I could get it on a trailer and take it to get the VIN verified. The old starter was not cutting it, and it wasn't working. And I thought maybe it was the starter, but then I kind of found out that this engine's actually really tight, and not in a good way. And it's really tight. But I put a new Power Master starter from like a Japanese truck or something like that. It was actually gifted to me and it was brand new. So I put it in and got that working. And then broke the original solenoid, so had to replace it. So this is actually a heavy duty solenoid off of a Cobra Jet, because I got a few of those lying around. As you can see, it looks different than a standard Ford solenoid. Everything's upright. Well, the old one broke in half when I was trying to do all the wires, like the trigger wire or stop wire, I guess, for the starter, since they're a different style starter. So we did do that so far. That's pretty much all I've done. I did try to get it running, but wasn't having too much luck originally. So we're gonna see if we can get it done today. So for now, we'll close that back up and I'll take you on a tour of the inside. We make our way to the captain's side here. Open that bad boy up, and you will see, well, the seat has seen some better days. It's not the worst I've ever seen, but it is pretty rough. And there's our dash. Yep, that dash pod is desert approved, if you can't tell. And we go all the way over. Someone took out the ashtray and put an 8-track. Ah, the 70s. What a great time. As you can see, it's a aqua interior, and they call this Venetian aqua. It's actually a deluxe interior, which is pretty cool. But it doesn't matter because, well, it's pretty rough. It's definitely seen some better days. We're going to try to salvage as much as we can, but it's not the best. Now this bad boy on the dash says 76,000 miles. I don't know if you can see it there. I had to wipe it down, but it's impossible to see. It does say 76. I am willing to bet it's 176, as you can probably tell by everything. And it's full of dirt. Headliner has definitely, well, it's looked better, I'm sure. So that'll be coming out. And then there's the back. I still have a bunch of stuff back there. I got a water pump because I think I need to replace this one. I always assume that water pumps need to be replaced because they almost always do when they've been sitting this long, especially where I live. So that's the front. Let that close. And the back, well, there's that extra taillight I bought. I'll probably have to take everything out, but I do want to show you the back seat. So let's move all this crap. Now, you can see, now that we've got this thing back up, that this back seat's actually in amazing shape. There are no rips or tears anywhere on it. It's kind of a little sticky, but it's in great shape. And actually, if I hadn't left it full down this entire time with the seat belts hurting it, it wouldn't have all these creases, but it's in great shape. So that's pretty cool. I wish the front seat was as good of condition, but beggars can't be choosers. And oh yeah, there's more of that headliner. Now, one of the best things that Ford ever did for the automotive industry, besides, well, everything, is right here. Yep, this guy. In 1966, Ford released the Magic Door Gate. That's right, it's magic, and it's a door gate. And what that means is, prior to 1966, if you wanted to open a tailgate, this was pretty much your only option. Straight down. That's why it's a tailgate. Well, Ford said, what if we didn't want to just do that? And in 1966, the engineers put a handle and made it go this way. Isn't that neat? So this started in 66, and I would say drastically changed the engineering landscape of station wagons for, well, the rest of time, because almost every other station wagon after this adopted this engineering marvel, so to speak. It actually allowed you to get in a lot closer and easier to the back, because if you notice, the entire back of this thing is angled. So when that tailgate's down, it's really hard to reach in and out of there. And, well, if you got kids and you need to seat them in the back because you have a third row of seating, this is the easier way to do it. So let's show you that third row of seating. If that guy will just stay right there, don't worry, I do have the panel and the glass. Like I said, I took it out because, well, I wanted to make sure I could get in and out of this, because there is an issue that if the glass is all the way up inside the car and the panel is on and your motor poops out like they always do, can't open this door. So that was the first thing I did when I got it. Now, one of the other cool features of this car is the fact that it has a third row of seating, but it's a special third row. So if I flip up this guy here, flip him up and over, and actually, then I take this bad boy and flip him back. As you can see, don't mind the popping, we have 2 extra seats back here. Now this was kind of unusual. A lot of times they actually face backwards like most of you were thinking, but I surprised you, didn't I? Shocked you. These ones fit sideways. That's how Ford did it in 66 and 67 and pretty much for a while. Now this bad boy is actually an 8-passenger. There were versions that were called 10 passengers, not in 66. They just had the 8-passenger because they thought you could only fit one person there, one person there. Later on, I think they added a little bit more space and they made 10 passengers, or maybe earlier on, I can't remember. Normally they're 9 passengers because you can fit 3 more people on the back row there, 3 kids. But this one, just 8 passengers. So that's the back seat. Now, if you will notice, that doesn't belong there. That is actually a gas tank. And in fact, there are 3. Oh, I guess I gotta pull this up. There are 3 gas tanks in this car because, well, they wanted to. Because if you notice, the fuel filler upper is right there. But there was also one right there. So in a station wagon, you have a saddle-ish style tank in the car on that side, at least for this car. Well, the previous owners, I'm assuming during the gas crisis, put one on this side too, that you fill up from in here. And then they thought, well, that's not enough. So they put one in here. And would you guess that they cut out the floor and put a Mustang gas tank, right in the center. And then put this hideous orange and yellow shag carpet that doesn't match the interior at all everywhere. So that's our third row, and we will actually worry about that later. Close this bad boy back up, and once you close that up, you have a full cargo area. And when you have that seat folded down, the second row seat folded down, you actually have an 8-foot space, just over 8 feet and just over 4 feet wide, that you could put, well, you could put your plywood in there, your building materials, they'll fit right in there. And even better is if you got some 10-footers, well, don't worry about that. We'll just close this boy up, roll the window down, and boom, stick it out the back. So that was really why these things were called family trucksters, because not only did you haul entire families up to 9 people or 8 people in this case, but they were trucks. You could actually treat this thing like a truck, which I will, and you bet I'm going to be putting plywood in this thing in the future. But that's the third row of seating. Let's go talk about some other things. Just close that bad boy up. Now, this car's really cool, besides the fact that it's a wagon and that I've wanted one forever. It's extremely straight, as you can see, for the most part. There's no major damage anywhere on the car other than the hole that they cut for a gas tank. There's almost no rust anywhere. There's actually just a little bit on that door right there. Right on the corner, you can start to see it bubbling up a little. But real quick, I just want to tell you the options on this car, because this was a pretty weirdly optioned car. It was probably upper to high level but not all the way up because it wasn't a Country Squire. And I actually think the person who bought this car ordered it specifically because they didn't want wood grain and they wanted a sleek car. But it's pretty well optioned because it's a 394 barrel, which is the second or third highest motor you could get in this year. It doesn't have a C6, which is kind of odd. It's actually an MX Cruise-O-Matic, not an FMX, but an MX, which is the earlier style, which is the same that's in the Thunderbird, or was in the Thunderbird. So yeah, it doesn't have a C6, so that kind of sucks. It's got a 3.0 open rear end, so just the base rear end. It's the absolute most standard rear end, but it's a deluxe interior, air conditioning, radio, 8-passenger, deluxe roof rack, because that is a deluxe option. Power rear window, but crank door windows. And I think that's pretty much it. So, like I said, it's not a super high option car, but it's definitely an upper mid-level option. The AC makes it really cool. There definitely are other things that I'm forgetting about it, but that's all I can remember at the moment. So that's what we get. And so I guess with all that being said and all that talking, I know I do a lot of talking, let's stop yapping and start wrenching. Now we're gonna do our favorite thing and take my daily driver's battery. Just gonna take you off of there and take you off of there and yoink. Now, one of the things that's actually kind of fun about this car, I guess not that fun, is I already think I got a name for it. Now, when I got this car and I brought it home, first thing I did was, well, give it a good wash. I pressure washed pretty much everything I could, but the engine bay, well, like I said, there were some cats going in and out of the engine bay for about 20 years. And there's still cat hair everywhere, actually. I can see it all over here. But one of the things that there was, well, on the other side, on the driver's side, where the battery is not, there's a giant hole there. And that giant hole, well, it's just nice and flat. Perfect for a wild or feral house cat to take a rest in, I guess. And one did. And it rested forever. So when I got this thing, I had to peel a dead cat carcass out of there and throw it away. There was a dead cat in there and it was stuck. And I tried to wash it as best as I could, and I'm still, well, thinking about burning it. So, because of that, I think I want to call this thing the Stray Cat. I don't know. Might be too on the nose, but let me know down in the comments what you think. So, let's get this battery in here. Oh boy. Not the right one, of course, but you know, maybe in the future, if I have a successful career and can afford to buy batteries, maybe I'll have more than have to steal out of my own cars. But we're gonna hook this thing up and hope nothing happens. At least nothing catch on fire. This ground wire has seen better days. It definitely needs to be replaced because it does not look good. Well, nothing caught on fire, but I think that was gonna happen. Now, like I had said, this thing it didn't start too well before. It was real slow. I tried turning over, and it was probably the tightest motor I've ever felt. But it does roll over, and that's all that matters. And as you can see, we've got a 2-barrel Motorcraft carb. And, well, I think the order of operations here, we'll take the cap off, inspect the points and the rotor and everything, make sure that's okay. I definitely got to get a new hose off the fuel pump because we're not running it from that tank. I actually have a little tank here that I believe will fit. Oh yeah, look at that. That seems pretty stable. Look at that. Fits right there where the dead cat was. That's your new home, buddy. So we got to get a new hose on the fuel pump. I'm assuming it's not going to work, but hey, you never know. And I guess restore our carburetor a little bit, and we'll see if she cranks over. Okay, I went ahead and replaced this fuel line on the input to the fuel pump, and I'm actually going to go ahead and pour some fuel down it to try to prime the pump, get it wet, because it's been dry for a lot of years. Oh, well, that's too much, but we'll just take that and shove it in our tank. So hopefully that fuel pump can survive. I've actually had really good luck with these Ford fuel pumps before. I've only had one fail on me, and most of the time if you prime them and get them wet, they actually come back to life. So let's hope that's the case. And we'll go ahead and pop our cap off here. Take a nice look. As you can see, it's got the racing wires because somebody wanted to go fast. Well, good for them. And we take it off, and actually, it looks pretty good. At least the cap does. I mean, it's a little burnt, but nothing crazy. Rotor looks okay. Let's see if we can get our points to spark a little. Now, I actually did get keys with this car, and as you can see, well, they look original, is kind of the best way to describe them. They are extremely worn down. Now, don't worry, none of you can copy this key, because guess what? The first thing I'm doing with this thing is changing the keys out. I actually wanted to do it before today, but, well, didn't happen, so we're going to try to use these. Now, these are the correct keys, but they definitely don't want to fit in there, so let's go see if we can get it turned. And if we just hop in here, oh man, this seat is really bad. So, we've got our dash here, we got our keys, and I do know this already works, but I did find out when I first got it, it was a little tight. And really, oh, I hear noise. Look at that, we got lights. That's interesting. But anyways, the key doesn't fit super well, so you gotta kind of wiggle it up and down. So I'm gonna replace this as soon as I can. But I guess, well, let's see if it turns over. Yep, it turns over. Let's turn this back on and go check those points. All right, we got our cap away, and we're just gonna, oh. Okay, well, I don't know if you can hear it, but I can see sparking in there, and I can hear it, but I can see sparking, so our points are good. Probably don't even have to shave them down or anything, so we're just going to put that back on. Oh man, that's tight. Okay. Now I am going to change this thing out to electronic ignition. That's also one of the first things that I'm going to do, but that'll be in the next video if we get this thing running. So, well, we're hooked up. We've got our fuel pump primed. Let's check our radiator. Actually, well, let's not. Let's not. And I guess we can, oh, let me go get some carb clean. We can restore it. Now, if you watched the last video at all, you know that this stuff worked really well for us, and we really didn't have to do anything, so I'm kind of hoping it's the case here. So we're just going to restore it just like we did the last one. It actually doesn't look too bad. Just get all the crap off it. Restored. Pour some down in there. Now, this is a 2-barrel, so I only got 2 barrels to work with, but yeah, she looks pretty good. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I've taken this thing off, but those nuts look really weird. Well, restored the carburetor. Just pour a little gas down in there and fill up the bowls. Pour some down there. You know, just fill her up, why don't you? And I guess I'll hook up my my starting stick, because, well, we've leveled it up here. Okay, so I got my remote starter, and we're pretty much going to put it, I don't even know if you can see, pretty much going to put it on the starter wire, and then the positive on the battery side. Yeah, that'll work. And well, it turns. Okay, let's go turn the key back on and see if this thing fires up. Now, luckily, it seems that the neutral safety switch seems to be working. So let's see if this thing fires up. Why don't we? Keep our hand away from the fan. Oh. Oh, it's running. Oh, it's kind of dying. Okay. Well, it's shaking a lot. But it seems to be running. I mean, it is running really good. Nope. Let's give that a rev. Well, it's shaking quite a bit. In fact, it's shaking a lot a bit. But it is running. It got some power steering pump, doesn't sound too good. But it is running. I guess we can check this now. Oh, there's liquid in there. I must have put some in there when I tried to get this running before. Well, it runs. Let's check, see how it sounds. Oh, we've got somewhat of an exhaust. It actually sounds pretty good. Wow, it's idling. I mean, it's not even a maybe. I mean, it's like this thing was running perfectly fine and then they just stored it. Well, I should probably shut it off because I didn't check the oil. I mean, I did when I got it, but I haven't checked the oil since, and I don't know what the oil looks like, so we should probably check that first. I have no idea if I just recorded that. If I didn't, I just poured a bunch of oil in it, but just kind of realized that. If I did, then you can cut all this. But anyways, I just poured some oil in there. I'm really amazed that this thing runs as good as it does, and all the AC parts are here for the most part, minus the compressor. But all the lines are here, and the condensers right there. And we've got a bracketry, or at least some of it. Although I know, yeah, this idler pulley is definitely seen some better days. So I did want to check. Let's check brakes first, because I mean, it looks like it's had brakes done, so that's nice because it has the dual master. But I don't want to put this thing in a gear. Ow, that just tore a chunk of skin off my hand. Ow. Okay, well. Oh. Guess we're filling that up. We do have some fluid, but actually looks like it's, yeah, that's not good. Well, we definitely are going to have some air bubbles in the line. So, oops. Hope that fixes everything. Man, that's a really tight reservoir. All right, now let's see if it runs and hopefully goes into gear. Close this thing up, make sure I didn't leave anything in there. And I do actually need a hood hinge because that one, well, it looks like it's about to shoot at me. Okay, we are in the wagon, and we actually do got some dome lightage, so that's neat. Oh, one of the things I forgot, day-night mirror, visibility group. That's why this thing has that mirror. We'll close this guy up. Make sure we're still in park, always have been. And, well, let's see if she starts. Oh. Okay. Maybe our neutral safety switch is not the best. I'm dumb. I know exactly why it's not starting. Sometimes you try to do things too quick and, well, you just don't think it through. Forgot to put the starter wire back on. Now let's now let's try it. Works great when you do it like that. Okay, well, it's idling. Let's see, does anything in here work? Well, the radio kind of works. Not really, but kind of. Yeah, probably not. We'll just turn that off. I want to check lights, but really I want to see, oh God, the exhaust in here is insane. It smells terrible. Oh, let's rev it up a bit. Not too bad, and actually, the water pump's not making any noise. I would have expected that thing to be squeaking like crazy because it's been sitting dry for so long. Well, let's see if it goes into gear. Oh, our brakes. Doesn't feel like we got any brakes. Okay, well, we'll just see if it goes into gear. Oh, it does. It goes into gear. But we got no brakes. Well, maybe some. If I pump, let's try to pump it up. Yeah. I don't know if we got any brakes at all. We're gonna have to check that, but well, I guess let's just see what happens. I'll just put it in gear here. Oh, it moves. Oh yeah, we got no brakes. Do we have emergency brake though? Oh, we do have emergency brake. Okay. Oh, actually that kind of stuck. Okay, well it moves. Got no brakes, except for the emergency brake. Let's put it in reverse though. Oh, that didn't feel good. Okay. It doesn't like something. But it's moving. Okay, we got some brakes, just not a lot. Oh, they're actually working better now. Let's get this thing back in. Yeah, emergency brake's sticking. We're just gonna ignore that. Well, that was a little too easy, again. I have no idea if the gauges work. In fact, I really don't have any gauges. Because this thing, well, you just got a bunch of idiot lights. And I might be the idiot, but they're not lighting up, so. Oh, something didn't sound good. We'll just rev it up. That'll fix it. That sounds pretty good. Oh, now it's really high. Oh, it smells terrible. Oh, we're gonna let this thing run a while and hope it doesn't overheat. Oh, it's starting to smoke pretty crazy. Oh, and it looks like something was dripping, and I have a feeling that might have been our brakes. Also our power steering. I know that one's power steering, or probably. But that looks like brakes. And, oh yeah, we got a leaking brake line. And this thing's shaking like crazy. This motor is not happy. And something is squealing in there. I think that's the water pump. Or the power steering. I don't know, it sounds terrible. And it's smoking, but I really can't complain. I mean, it is idling. I hope I'm not breaking the motor. Oh yeah, it's smoking good. Well, this is the keep your mouth quiet. That thing's loud. I'm gonna come a little further away. This is the second week in a row that our life has been way too easy on us. That thing is so loud. It's getting worse at the minute. But it runs. And so I guess we're getting real lucky. I don't know. I don't think they're all going to be like that. But I did put a good starter in it, so, you know, that's good. I'm actually amazed the fuel pump works. I am probably still going to change it out. I do have another one. Same with the water pump, because the water pumps are always, I mean, it sounds terrible. It keeps screeching, and I know it's the water pump because that's what happens with all of them when they dry up. But this thing's pretty neat. So, I think that's it for this video, I guess. Not exactly how I wanted it to go. And again, I didn't have to do anything. A carburetor's probably full of junk. I probably need to take it off and go through it, but it is working and it idles really good and it's smoking more and more. But it runs. So I think I'm gonna end that here. But next week, we're gonna go ahead and try to tune on this thing a little bit. We'll do an oil change. We'll do spark plugs, probably spark plug wires, distributor. We're gonna convert this thing to electronic ignition because I already have one ready to go for it. We're gonna go through all of the fluids, hopefully fix the brakes. This thing is 4-wheel drum brakes, and I actually have a bunch of brake parts ready to go that I think will fit on this, so we'll try that. So we'll do brakes, fluids, we'll clean it out because it is nasty, and then we'll start figuring out what we're gonna do with this guy and what's gonna happen with it. We know we need a windshield. I know I need to fix the gas tank situation, so we'll do that next week because I do have an extra gas tank, thankfully. So anyways, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. This is way easier than I expected it to be. So, you know, that's cool, I guess. Kind of like last week too. That was way too easy, but that one I knew probably ran. This one I had no hope for it running. Runs fine. So clearly this thing was just put away and it was just old and tired, but it works fine. Oh yeah, we also got to fix that power steering line because that thing leaks like crazy. I mean, it's the reason some of it's smoking, I think, is because it is literally dripping power steering fluid on the exhaust manifold and bouncing off and hitting the box. So we'll fix that too. I got to find a power steering line, but you know, anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell if you want to be notified. Oh my God. Click the bell notification if you want to be notified when I post. I'm trying to post weekly, every week on Mondays. That's kind of my goal. And so trying to make this work out. And if you guys enjoyed it, let me know. If you didn't enjoy it, let me know. Tell me what I could do better, all of these things. I really just want to make fun videos and have fun and get these cars running and back on the road. This is definitely going to be a build for us. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week when we get this thing better than it is. See you later.